Alrighty, so here is a trade recap, part three. Yeah, part three on how I made $700 trading in one single day, taking one trade, the exact same setup I do every single day. This was on the stock Palantir, which here's a screenshot 679 from today, and this is the screenshot, or this is the stock that I traded, which was Palantir. So the first thing I did going into today was yesterday I go through a nightly scan. So I pretty much pick out a stock that I really like, one that typically has to set up on the daily first before I take a trade. If something isn't set up, or if my bias isn't aligned with how the daily chart looks, I won't take a trade. So I always start with the daily time frame. That just gives you the highest confirmation, the highest confluence on, how you can determine where your bias is for each stock that you're trading, or just the overall market itself. So as you can see here, Palantir was setting up beautifully on the daily chart. So you can see that we've pretty much had a big move to the upside from that one pretty much insane move that we made that one day, where it was like the record day the market made, and then pretty much has just been moving sideways for the last 2 weeks. And pretty much what it has been doing is just consolidating and pretty much printing a bull flag for the next leg higher, right? So if you don't know what a bull flag is, it's literally just a move higher to then a consolidation for the next move to the upside. This is kind of ugly, but you get the picture, right? So this is literally what it's been doing, right? So pretty much all we're waiting on is the move to happen. Where's my marker? Right, all we're doing is waiting for it to break out of the bull flag and catching it here, and then riding the move to the upside like this. So that's literally what I'm doing. And as you can see here, right, we pretty much set up an exact similar scenario here with the bull flag forming on the daily. So what I do now is, once I figure out a good stock that I'm watching that is setting up, I then go and pick out an entry point or a key level and where a possible entry point could be, right? So the first thing I do is I like to look for like a previous day high, or just a previous significant level, and where the stock was rejecting off of. So then once we get over that, right, it shows that there's no more sellers at that spot, and then we can trade it to the upside. So pretty much what I picked out was this 96.50 spot, right, which was the previous 2 days high. So if we could take out those 2 days high, we can then move and probably get into the $100 range, which is a $4 move. And options would be a lot. So that would be my entry point. All right, so if we pull up the 5-minute time frame, we can see that we did make a significant gap up in the market, or in this stock specifically, pretty much confirming that we are breaking out of that daily bull flag that we talked about, which is now showing a lot of strength and a potential move to the next pretty much move higher, right? So the next extension move higher. And literally where we came to and came and rejected at was that $100 psychological level, right? Literally to the exact number at 100. So what this is now our pre-market high, which is exactly what we play every day, is that pre-market high or pre-market low, break and retest. So at this point, right, this is my number one watch going into today, even though it was already my number one. But since we are the strongest stock in the sector, or strongest stock in the market, because we were up the most in the pre-market, right? One of the most, I think Tesla was up the most, but that had earnings. So this was pretty much the stock that was up the most in the pre-market, which was also aligned with our daily watch, right? Because we were watching it since the daily chart looked really good. So now all we're doing is pretty much marking off our pre-market high, which was that $100 psych level. So now all we're doing is waiting. If the market wants to continue higher, we're waiting for this to break over that $100 and retest. Same thing I do every day, right? We'll pull up the replay here, so we'll go through it. So first 5 minutes, bang, right? Get that huge wick down. We close that 5 minute candle green, right? We have the EMAs pulled up here because we do use the moving averages. So now all we're doing is reacting to what it's going to do. There we go. The next 5 minutes with a lot of volume, right? So a lot more volume than that first 5 minute candle. That shows a lot of buyers are stepping in here. So all we're doing now is waiting for an entry. It did rip up through that $100 like level. Wasn't really a setup, so we do want to wait for the retest. If it doesn't have a retest, then we just don't take the trade. We don't want to chase, into the highs here and then, risk getting wicked out and pretty much just slap down to the downside. And then you basically just lose, a significant amount trying to chase it at the highs here. So all we're doing is waiting for the retest. All right, as you can see, the next 2-3 candles come right down. There we go, right? It comes right back down. I think that next candle comes down perfectly. Yeah, so the next candle comes down perfectly and retest that's exact $100 spot, right? That pre-market high. We took the entry there, right? So let's act like I took it there. Our stop loss is set pretty much just right below it. We don't want to do it too low, but give it a little wiggle room. Put our stop loss set below that pre-market high. If it does fail to close, or if it does fail to hold this, then we'll stop out. Initially we're targeting up a move past the recent highs that we made here. So that would be our first target. And then we'll just look to target a 4 or 3-to-1 risk reward. So for this case, we'll just do a 4-to-1, right? So let's play it out. A lot of volume here as well, confirming that we are holding and buyers are stepping in. And you can see the next 15-20 minutes. There you go. So 10-15 minutes already hits our first profit, right? First target point. So this is already, if we were to enter exactly here, this is already almost a $2 move to the upside to our targets. So that is a good move in the options world. And then bang, the next 30 minutes already hits that 4-to-1 risk reward, bang. And then we just let it play out. And I'm pretty sure I stopped out on these here when the price printed this nasty sell wick candle. If you don't, you have to kind of read how the candles work, and this is not a good looking candle, but I think it did start to end up going back up some, or no, it comes back down. So pretty much a good stop out here on the rest of my contracts. And so that was literally a 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 40, a 55, an hour long trade. And that's exactly how I was able to make $700 in 55 minutes. Just like that. Same setup every day. Tune in for the next one.